Oh boy, it's been such a long road. Well, I started out doing quite well. I was a registered nurse, and I developed all these health problems secondary to my alcoholism.
And my wife's very intelligent as well. She worked for Bell. I drove for years. I drove for 16 years. She worked for Bell. Like I said, she used to take me to, we used to go to trips to Chicago for free. We'd stay on Michigan Avenue. You know, I used to pick her up at work in brand new cars every week. And
during those times, I went through some serious traumatic experiences, and I got all warbled up in my mind, and it followed me. It got worse.
I was with Kevin, my present husband at the time, and he had addiction issues as well. And addiction can be very, very costly.
I was surrounded by loving family and friends and relatives when I was growing up a bit, but when I got away from them down here for school, I didn't have that support system anymore, and it kind of screwed me up all over, and I started drinking a lot. And
I used up my pension to live because I couldn't work, and I ended up coming here because, like I said, I was paying for hotel rooms, but eventually my whole pension just left.
the drugs pulled us down. She was hooked on opiates because of her fibromyalgia and her pain in her back, and you know, Keen, me, the cool husband with the cool sports cars, introduced a little bit of cocaine, and the two together were lethal.
I started living at homeless shelters like Sally and Salvation Army, Shepherds of Good Hope, and Mission, Ottawa Mission for Men. And so I alternated between those three depending on whether I was banned from one of them or the other because of being drunk too much. And so I was homeless like that for about 17 years.
I went down to 155 pounds, almost died, and I got on ODSP, and yeah, I was in really rough shape. But I always hung in there as a dad, 100%, with my wife. And my daughter, to this day, I could call her up any day of the week, anytime, and she'd be right there for her dad.
And it's quite unfortunate because he was, like just the year before, he was a master electrician, you know, pulling in tons of dough. I was a registered nurse, and then all of a sudden it just went right downhill because of the alcohol and and primarily mental illness. Because Kevin as well was self-medicating, and so was I. And we're both very independent people and try to be strong. We wouldn't reach out and ask for help. So in the long run, we lost our housing.
Actually, one of the biggest things I think is that people often think homelessness has been around forever. It's actually pretty new. So to me, that gives me a lot of hope, because if it's new, we can also actually solve it. And that's the other piece that people don't often know, is that communities really are reducing homelessness significantly. And so I think on top of all of that is this perspective that it's all about a person having a lot of challenges in their life, when really we see homelessness created basically in the early 90s when we just stopped investing in affordable housing. So when you think about that, we can actually do the right kinds of investments and see an increase in people being housed. So I think a lot of folks have some pretty stigmatizing perspectives about why people end up homeless, but I think we have to remember, as long as there have been humans, there have been people who have experienced trauma and pain, but we have not had mass homelessness the way that we do now. So we have to look at the bigger picture. I mean, so often I feel like this in social policy and frontline work it's pretty obvious what the solutions are, like do the right thing. And the right thing is supporting an individual. And when anybody, including myself, gets told what to do, I don't respond to that very well. And so people are supported to walk with people on their journey, to find housing, to find stability, and to provide those practical supports. We're doing the right thing. The data backs it up, and people back it up with their own stories and their experiences of coming out of homelessness and experiencing stability. So I think that, on that very sort of person-to-person perspective, it's pretty simple. But then even on a policy perspective, it's pretty simple. We need to invest in the right things. And I think we can't go wrong when we invest in community and we invest in people, which is really where this is and what this conversation is actually about, is that every person deserves to have a safe, affordable home. It's not about who gets one and who doesn't, but everybody deserves that.